Hello, my name is John Hoffman. I recently had the opportunity and privilege to travel to Mongolia through a very special program. The program was called Earth Expeditions. Earth Expeditions is a partnership between Miami University and the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Gardens. It is a global conservation program. In short, its mission is to create an alliance of ambassadors for our environment. They are people who promote a global understanding of environmental issues. The purpose of this program is very simple. I want to share my story with you. It is a story about Mongolia, the land of the blue sky. It is a story about its ecology, or the relationship between people, plants, and animals. It is a story about some environmental issues and conservation efforts in this beautiful country. The cast of characters includes our group. It was a diverse group of educators from many walks of life. There were teachers, zoo educators, and educators from industry, me included. And of course, the cast included our wonderful host, the Mongolian people. Many were prominent educators within the country.
Ah
The setting for the story is the steppes of Mongolia. Mongolia is located in Eurasia. It borders Russia to the north and China to the south, and the country is rich in culture, wonderful people, and beautiful ecosystems. The steppe ecosystem includes a type of ecosystem referred to as a grazing ecosystem. The steppes are characterized by grassy cover, able to resist droughts. They generally occur on gentle slopes with deep, well-drained soil. It is distinguished from other habitats by its prominent herbivore-based food web, animals that eat plants. As recently as 150 years ago, the Earth's grasslands supported large migratory populations of horses, bison, antelope, kangaroos, zebras, and others. These populations are now much diminished. The most extensive steppe zone in the world is Eurasia. Large areas of the northern hemisphere are occupied by grasslands, including North America and Eurasia. Most areas experience dry summers and cold and often severe winters. Camp life on the steppes was very interesting. Our accommodations on the steppes throughout the trip ranged from primitive to rather luxurious at the Hussein National Park. We stayed in gers or goatskin covered tents. Our host did a great job making us feel comfortable, even arranging for a makeshift shower. There was a 5-gallon container of water with a hose to a shower head. Walking on a stair-stepper pump provided the pumping action. There are approximately 90 species of steppe mammals in the Eurasian steppes. Vegetation is diverse. 1 square meter can support 80 species of plants. Herbivores are provided a wide range of foliage, and even dead plant parts can provide nourishment. Generally, the terrain does not provide much cover or shelter for the animals. Most species live in burrows. Most small animals spend their winter hidden beneath the snow cover, and only the larger animals spend the winter on open surface. The most abundant mammals in the Eurasian steppes consume green plants and some branches and bark. Wild ungulates migrate to meet their nutritional requirements in grasslands. Domestic grazing not only competes for plants, but also disrupts the migratory pattern. Although the fauna of the country includes over 400 species of birds, many species are declining due to mortality outside of Mongolia. Human activity greatly affects the steppe landscape. In areas where rainfall is sufficient, grasslands have been almost totally converted to agricultural land. Other areas have been changed into irrigated croplands, and other areas have been turned into desert-like ecosystems due to intense and prolonged overgrazing. Only in Central Asia, especially Mongolia, can one find unspoiled steppes. Overgrazing is a serious threat to the sustainability of the grasslands in Mongolia. There has been an enormous increase in the population and livestock during the 20th century. Soil degradation and degraded vegetation of abandoned croplands has resulted in erosion, increased number of rodents, and increased desertification. The grazing ecosystem is one of the most endangered habitats, and protection of the few grazing ecosystems that remain is the only feasible option for preserving this habitat. Mongolia now has several protected areas with restrictions on economic activities. These are of great importance for the protection of biodiversity and endangered animal species. Nature-based tourism is seen as a viable conservation alternative. Grazing reform is perhaps the greatest opportunity for improving rangeland conservation. The Taki horse is a wonderful success story. Years ago, the Taki became completely extinct in Mongolia. Their numbers throughout the world were less than 2,000, with breeding pairs mostly in zoos. The Taki horse was reintroduced into Mongolia from zoo stock. They range through the Hussein National Park, and the herd now exceeds 300. What a great role zoos played in this success story. The Conservation Radio Workshop was one of the highlights of the trip. This was a community-based conservation project whereby our group worked with several students from Mongolia to develop and communicate stories. The stories were ones the students felt connected them with nature in some way. We worked closely with a famous radio personality in Mongolia, Shagra. The stories were recorded in Mongolian and English. Shagra will play the stories on Mongolian radio, and NPR radio will play the English version on American radio. The idea behind this approach is to share a connection with nature to help people appreciate and respect their environment. I think you will see what I mean. I'd like to share one of the students' stories with you. Zula told us a beautiful story about the wolf.
My name is Zula. I am 15 years old. I like wolves because their eyes look powerful and I feel their power. Mongolians use everything from the wolf. We use everything and there is no waste. We conserve the wolf and use it all. When we don't get along, we are like wolves and sheep. It's like cats and dogs.
As we consider our precarious habitat, we must have hope. I believe hope for the future begins with appreciation and respect for our environment. I'd like to share with you a poem by Wendell Berry. It's a poem that struck home with me when it was recited one evening by one of our facilitators, Thane Maynard. It's called The Peace of Wild Things.
The peace of wild things. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars, waiting with their light. For a time I rest in the grace of the world and am free.
That is my story, and I hope you enjoyed it. I would like to hear your story too. How do you connect with nature? What do you find to be beautiful about our world? Feel free to email me at john@alloway.com or contact me through your presenter. Thank you.